Chapter 6: The Threefold Basis of Business Success. There are numbers of people in the world who believe that the door of opportunity is closed to the majority and that advancement is possible only to the lucky few. But in this, they are wholly mistaken. The fact is, the lucky few have made their own luck, and the many can do the same. To be numbered among the favored ones, however, the individual must be competent and must be able to make good, though these requirements are not beyond the reach of the many. Advancement is possible to all, and anyone can improve himself when he knows how, and all can learn how. The fact that the demand for competent men and women is very large everywhere, and the fact that anyone may become competent, places the future success of any person in his own hands. No individual, therefore, has anyone but himself to blame if he fails, but he can, through his own individual efforts, attain the greatest success that is possible to man. To attain a real and permanent success, it is only a matter of understanding the principles upon which success is based and applying the laws through which practical results may be secured in one's chosen field of action. And as we are just as familiar with the principles that produce success as we are with mathematical principles, there is nothing that can prevent success but the failure to apply those principles. When these principles are systematically applied, that is, when the use of our faculties and powers is reduced to a science, the application of that science will produce success with a certainty in every individual case. The same causes produce the same effects, no matter who the person may be that applies those causes. We conclude, therefore, that every person who applies the science of success will positively succeed, and every person can learn to apply this science. To begin, we must understand the basis of the science of business success, and we find this basis to be threefold, the first factor of which is work. Work does things, and every stone in the temple of success is a deed well done. It is therefore evident that the more one works, the greater success will be, provided the work is real work. And we must not forget that there is work and work, the difference between the two being very great. To work does not simply mean to use up energy. To work does not mean to tear down men while they are building up things, for the work of the man should build up the man, as well as those things that the man is building. Too much of the work done has not produced results. It has simply used up energy. The loss of this energy has made man weak and has perpetuated the belief that work is hard on the system. But it is not work that causes the physical body to wear out. The worn-out condition met so frequently among men and women is caused by the using up of energy. And between real work and the mere using up of energy, there is a vast difference. In fact, there is nothing whatever in common between the two. To proceed, have no fear of hard work. It will not do you any harm, for real work does not produce weakness or weariness. On the contrary, it permanently increases the strength of the entire system. Real work generates energy just as rapidly as it consumes energy, provided the materials from which such energy is generated are supplied in abundance. And such materials may be provided through wholesome food, pure air, and 8 hours of sleep out of every 24. It is mere waste of energy, destructive or non-constructive work, and strained or strenuous actions, worry and wrong thinking that cause the mind and body to wear out. But these can all be avoided. Therefore, all manner of wear and tear can be completely eliminated from the human system. The body is permeated with the mind. Every physical action is preceded by a corresponding mental action. It is therefore evident that to work properly, the mind must be in the proper attitude. That is, the mind must hold itself in a certain position if all the actions of the personality are to continue in that same position. To illustrate this idea, we need simply note the fact that the various faculties and forces of the person will not act in a state of harmony unless the mind holds itself in harmony during the action of those faculties and forces. In like manner, no action of the personality can be fully constructive unless the mind is in a constructive attitude at the time of that action. To state it briefly, the actions of the personality are governed by the attitudes of the mind. And since work is a series of actions, real work becomes possible only when the mind is held exclusively in those attitudes that are directly conducive to real work. This is a fact of extraordinary importance and can easily be demonstrated to be absolutely true, though anyone who is familiar with modern metaphysics will see at once that it is true. Detailed illustrations, therefore, will not be necessary in this connection. To succeed is to move forward, and back of every forward movement there must necessarily be an abundance of good work. More work is necessary at frequent intervals if great success is to be attained. But no work ought to be hard in the sense that it is wearisome or burdensome. And here we must remember that every moment of work should count. What is usually termed hard work is a full and thorough application of our energies. But such work will not be hard on the system so long as the mind is in perfect harmony with itself and its surroundings. We may therefore enter more work with pleasure, knowing that the more we work, the more we shall accomplish, and also that such work will not be wearing on the system, but will, on the contrary, build up the system. To make everything count that we undertake to do, the mind should continue in a constructive attitude. That is, all work should be entered into with the deep feeling that the work will not only produce things, but will also produce greater power and capacity in the one that works. In other words, make it a point to look upon your work as a continuous cause of physical and mental development, and you will not only build up greater and greater success, but such work will also build up your system. Enter your work in this attitude, and it will not only make your business a success, but it will make you a success. It will produce a fine man as well as a fine income. Ability gives worth to things, and real success means the perpetual increase of worth, not only in the man's product, but in the man himself. The greater the worth of the product, the greater the price that may be secured, as the world wants good things and is willing to pay well to get them. But it is only the mind of ability that can produce good things. Work alone will do things, but the value of those things will depend upon how much ability was applied in the work. It is not a number of ordinary things that constitutes success. Success is the power to produce the extraordinary, both in quality and in quantity. And success comes only through the practical application of a mind that is large as well as superior. However, those who do not have such a mind at the present time need not think that success is not in store for them, for ability can be developed even to a remarkable degree, though the first essential is to use thoroughly what ability we already possess. To work successfully, all work must be constructive to the highest possible degree. But it requires ability to so direct one's efforts that every action will do something worthwhile. The mind that lacks ability misdirects the majority of its actions. Those actions therefore produce nothing, while those actions that can be properly directed usually fail to produce quality, for the fact that no action can produce anything of real value unless there is ability in that action. And since success comes only through the production of good things, ability becomes indispensable to him who would succeed in the best sense of that term. To develop your business ability, make the fullest use of what ability you now possess and devote as much time as convenient to the further development of that ability. Use your talents now, fully and thoroughly, whether you receive a high salary or not. If you are waiting to use your best talents until you receive a high salary, you will never receive such a salary, and your talents will continue to lie dormant. By making the fullest use of the ability you now possess, you not only develop your ability by bringing out the best that is in you, but you prove to those who know you that you are fully able to fill a larger place. And since competent men and women are in great demand everywhere, you will soon find a larger place waiting for you. Demonstrate by your work, not by your words, that you are competent, and you will have more opportunities for advancement than you can use. If you are in business for yourself, the same law will hold without any exceptions whatever. The world wants good things. Therefore, produce them, and let the world know what you can produce. You will soon find that your establishment will need enlargement. The world goes where they receive the best service. Supply that service, therefore, by making the fullest and best use of your ability. You will find business in abundance positively coming your way. The development of business ability is a subject that should receive most thorough attention, and since scientific methods through which this ability can be developed have been discovered, every moment we give to this matter will positively count. Accordingly, those who are not competent and who have heretofore been unsuccessful need not be discouraged. It is just as natural to develop ability along any line as it is to develop muscle. In addition to the full use of your present ability, the mind should be kept in that attitude that is most conducive to the growth of the mind while present ability is being exercised. It is a fact that the proper application of ability will develop that ability during working hours, just as the proper use of muscle will increase the size and power of that muscle. To exercise your ability in the proper mental attitude, look upon your present work as a means to advancement. Constantly think of your work in this way and impress this thought so deeply upon your mind that whenever you think of your work, you think of advancement. Through this attitude, you will relate yourself to your work in such a way that everything you do will be used directly in promoting your own success. And what is just as important, when you think of your present work as a means to your advancement, you animate your work with the spirit of advancement. This will not only push your work, but it will cause you to do far better work, and better work invariably means advancement both in yourself and in your sphere of action. Faith works up to greater things, and since real success means higher attainments and greater achievements, faith becomes absolutely necessary to a truly successful life. It is the truth that no one ever pressed on to a greater things without some degree of faith, and it is also the truth that the greatest men have had the largest faith. Faith, as employed here, however, is not a belief about something. It is a mental attitude, the reaching out attitude. Faith is that something in a man that is constantly breaking bounds, that is ever on the verge of greater things, that is ever working up toward the larger and the greater, and that knows through an interior insight how to use in the present those greater possibilities that are being discerned as the mind looks out toward the future. To be successful to a great degree, you must be far-sighted. That is, you must have that insight that knows how to do the right thing at the right time. And this insight is produced by the attitude of faith. When you have faith in the greater, your mind will constantly enter into the life and the power of the greater, and will consequently gain possession of the greater. It is therefore simple to understand that the mind that works in the attitude of faith must unfailingly work up to greater things. Faith will increase the clearness of the thought and the brilliancy of the mind, because faith takes consciousness into the upper story of the mind, where superior intelligence actually does exist. Faith awakens the higher and the mightier forces within us, and expands consciousness in every direction. The mind is thereby enlarged, mental capacity is increased, and the essentials to greater ability supplied. Faith brings out the best that one may possess now. The man who has faith in himself, therefore, will be his best at all times. He will do his best no matter what his occupation may be, and he who does his best in his present work will invariably be promoted to a work that is better. The man who has faith in his work will secure the best results from that work. Accordingly, he will pave the way for a greater enterprise. And by having faith in everything and everybody, he will dwell mentally with the best that there is in life. This is extremely important because it is the mind that constantly concentrates upon the better and the greater that will constantly work up to the greater and the better. From the foregoing, it will be clearly evident to all that the threefold basis of a business science will necessarily be composed of these three factors: work, ability, and faith.